Welcome back to another episode of the Bookkeeper Blueprint. We're your host. It was just me last time. So I'm Sherry and I am here with Megan.
Good morning.
We talk a lot about Facebook. And so today we are talking about how to use Facebook stories to showcase even your day as a bookkeeper, just to start putting yourself out there. So if you've ever wondered how to market your business without spending hours creating content, we've got you covered today. We're going to dive into one of the simplest tools I hope you're probably already using. I remember there was one season where my SEO background bit me, and I wanted to do all the things. I wanted to post on Dig and Reddit and Quora and all the answer sites and everything and just go big. You do not have to do that to have a six-figure or multi-six-figure business. Some of you aren't even looking for six figures. You're just looking for maybe 2,500 a month coming in. And so there are a lot of ways to do that, and we are here to help you. Megan and I have created the Bookkeeper Blueprint program. So if you're looking for that step-by-step guidance, I will tell you more about that later today. Okay, so why do stories work? Stories show up at the top of Facebook, meaning they're typically the first thing people see when they log into Facebook, especially on your phone. They're a little bit like in your face. One thing Megan and I noticed is we have a mutual friend, and she started a new business a couple months ago. Is that right, Megan? Like a couple months ago,
Yeah, I think so.
give or take. But it was like a new business, not something she had been doing. And me and several others just saw this like story from her. I have not talked to her in several years. Our paths just weren't crossing anymore. Oh, and so I guess I have some mutual friends in kind of the bookkeeping space with her. And the story popped up out of nowhere. And I'm like, it's irrelevant to me. But it really made me laugh, and really showed me the power of stories and just the different algorithm where Facebook will push it out to different people, then it will push out your Facebook post too. It also tracks who we're seeing stories. I will have people see my stories that don't ever comment on my post, and I'll get that heart or reaction to the story. Okay. The nice thing about stories is they're casual, they're quick, they're authentic, they're real, and they're perfect for connecting with your audience. So they're not something you have to do a lot of editing for. You shouldn't really have to do any editing for stories. So when Megan and I were talking about Facebook, what's the stats? How many people are using Facebook stories, things like that? We found, and I didn't fact check this, so feel free to go check it, but roughly 5 million people are seeing Facebook stories. I saw another post shared by another coach that we follow today, and Facebook posts get about 2% reach of your audience. So if you have 100 people on your friends list, there are less than 4 people seeing, right? It's 2 plus your mom seeing your post on Facebook. So not a very big reach. So what we're going to talk about today applies to Facebook stories. It's also going to apply for anywhere that you can do short stories, Instagram, things like that. Okay. And one of the things that we teach inside of the Bookkeeper Blueprint is how to market in a way that works for you. The best marketing method is the one that you'll be consistent at. We see so many bookkeepers, they market in different ways. We're going to help you narrow down and focus in on what way is going to work for you. We're going to help you double down and understand when to double down on a piece of marketing. Okay. And if you guys have questions as we go, feel free to jump in, let us know. So you can post in the comment section. And then if you are watching us live on YouTube or in the Facebook group, you can post your comments there as well. Okay. So what in the world do you post on stories? And actually, do any of you guys have anyone that you follow that does stories that you're like, I watch their stories every week? If so, let me know. I think I see Jennifer Allwood. Jennifer Allwood's probably the one that I'm
Definitely.
like, when I think stories, I think Jennifer Allwood.
Yeah.
She's so consistent, and it is just her sharing her life with you. So some of the things that you can share on Facebook stories could be your daily wins. Maybe you can share little victories like finishing a reconciliation or helping a client save money on taxes. You can post a quick photo of your computer with a caption like wrapped up in a messy set of books today. Feels amazing. Let me repeat that. I stumbled over my words. So I said year wrapped up in a messy set of books. And it feels amazing to be working on someone else's problem, solving, serving your audience. And that is quickly, I don't know if you guys can see me. If obviously if you're listening to the podcast, you can't, but just a photo of you and your computer, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, I think Jennifer Allwood never, and she has said this on a call before, she never, or YouTube channel show or something, she never does photo shoots in her office. And I don't think she ever does stories in her office. She's always outside in her car, in other places of her house. I don't think she ever really does her office because that's where her creative brain is working, and it would slow her down to have to clean up to do a story. Guys, you don't need much square footage, right? Like just behind me is like 2 square feet. I could do a story with that. Okay. Other things you could do, you could show your workspace, the tools you use. You can do a peek at a client success. You can do just feedback. So yesterday I was talking to a bookkeeper, and Megan and I have, just based on our years of experience, when you guys tell us about your client stories, whether they signed with you or they didn't, whether you're working through a cleanup or whatever it is that's going on, and you're talking about your interactions with clients, Megan and I can pull out these stories. So feel free to get on a one-to-one and talk to us about what's going on in your business, because we could probably pull out 2 or 3 stories, and we're going to present them in a way that you're like, oh, I didn't even know I could share that. One of them was, and I see your question, I'll get to that in just a second. But one of them yesterday was a client didn't fully sign on because they wanted their tax preparer to also be their bookkeeper. Guys, I can think of 5 reasons, and I know Megan has personal stories too, of why that could be a really bad idea. We get it. We know that people want it. It's convenient. It's easy. But it is a very easy when you get that question. Oh, you really want your heart surgeon prescribing you cold medicine? Well, who do you have double checking the tax preparer's work? Is it the same tax preparer reviewing the bookkeeping, or are there 2 different departments? Sometimes in a firm, it's you have your tax department, like one of the firms I used to work in, tax department and bookkeeping were completely separate departments run by different people, different things. In that case, it's probably okay. But then why have it at the same place? What is that really benefiting? As long as they're really checking it, right? Like you can push back. Okay, I just want to make sure you're taken care of. Have you considered this and that? Are you covered in this if this happens? Are you prepared to take on this responsibility that you're now forfeiting over? So just a thought. So we can pull those stories out if you're really struggling with, I don't talk to clients, I don't know what to talk about. We can help you with that. You can do coffee breaks, vacations, your favorite book that you're reading. I was sharing with someone this book called The Go-Giver, and Allie can post it in the chat if you guys want to go look at it. But there was a story in here that I was sharing yesterday, and a reason I wanted to bring it up. I can share that in a story on Facebook, right? You can share a highlight of the book. Hey, I'm reading this, and this line is important. I'm going to highlight it. Maybe if you highlight in books. I don't like to highlight in books for whatever reason. I just can't. Okay. And then you can always have, I was talking to another person this week who's, I really want to be educational in my content. That's a big pillar for me. Okay, great. We want to be about 80% relatable in our stories. So it's going to be a little different than your Facebook posts that are going out. We want to be relatable. We want people to see, yep, that's how my day's going too. Right? Oh, that's inspiring. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Relatable content, and then about 20% promotional. So we really don't want to be promotional in our stories. It is just person to person. Okay, saw that we have a couple of questions. So I want to get to those before I keep going. I want to do stories, but for every ad I put in the story, I want to do 2 personal posts in the story so viewers don't think I'm a business and I'm a person too. Yeah, I think I just actually answered that. 80% should be relatable, personal. 20% should be promotional. So I would make that even more of a just disparity because you're doing like 33, 33, 33. So like 33, 66. Should we post stories to our personal and business page? Is there one better over the other? I'm going to say if you're using your personal, this is probably better on your personal. Megan, what are your thoughts?
I think you can do both if you're marketing on both for sure. Because again, for me, I have people who probably like my business page that don't follow me on Facebook, like on my personal page. And partially for that is because I lost a Facebook page at one point in time. So they're on my business page, but they're not on my personal page. So I like to do it on both. And again, like you said earlier, as far as the algorithm goes, that tends to pop up more to people in the stories anyway. So like I see a lot of businesses on my stories.
Yeah. And a lot of you guys, there's definitely a personal brand element to your business where you are the business right now. Um, Jennifer Allwood, who I mentioned earlier, we've had her on as a guest, and we're gonna see if we can get her on again in 2025. I think.
Yep.
What we're
Yeah.
talking. Yeah.
Yep.
If you're not following her, go follow her. She's a really good example of someone just doing it, right? She has a business page. So she is a rule follower. And you're not supposed to have business on personal, technically. So she has a business page that she promotes, and she does all of her stories on her business page. But she does everything on her business page. Her personal, if you were to find her personal, is really very much for friends and family. That's stuff that she's not posting on
Yep.
business. There's no real overlap there. If that helps to know, Eva. At the Jennifer Allwood.
I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you. At the end of the day, double down on the platform that you're going to be working on. Jennifer Allwood, I would say she recommends 2 platforms. So like Instagram, Facebook count as one because it's meta. So if you get deleted on Facebook, you're going to be deleted on Instagram if they're connected. So Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, Alignable, LinkedIn, 2. But some of you guys aren't even doing 1. So our first goal is to get you using 1 consistently. If you're now using 1 consistently, you might consider doing 2. But I hope that helps, Eva, answer your question. Okay, so let's get into some tips for just creating some engaging Facebook stories. You can do polls, you can add stickers, you can add GIFs to create the interaction. So we're not talking about reels. We've talked about reels on here, doing those short videos. We are just talking about stories. So stories are very much talking to a best friend. And we say that in reels too, but this is going to be those even more talking to your best friend, talking to your ideal client. So how can you interact with them? Can you get them to do a poll? Can you get them to interact with your story? That is the whole goal. And you can do, it's so much easier to get them to interact with a story than it is to your Facebook post. Okay. Make it a part of your routine. Do at least 1 story every day. I would give 1 day like a break for 24 hours. So if you're posting every day, at some point in the week, let your stories completely run out. So you'll see that there's like a time lapse, right? So if you post a story, 4 hours later, you post another story, I'm still going to see both of those stories. And then one's going to fade off. Then the other one will fade off. You can do this on Sundays. So like Sundays, I don't post any content from like Saturday night to Monday morning. And that lets everything run out. Like, and what that does is it lets Facebook reset. And so it lets all of it run out. And so it pings you again. And that's really, especially if you're using Instagram. So especially on Instagram, do let the stories run out once a week. Don't overthink it. Let it be imperfect. Let it be the everyday. People want to get to know you. They want to trust you as their bookkeeper. And I was just talking to someone, different bookkeeper yesterday, and we were talking about having a goodwill bucket. And I have a mug. I have a mug. So say you're making these posts, but ultimately this is my goodwill mug with my clients, and their bookkeeper messed stuff up. So I get them, I start fixing it. I'm increasing that goodwill, right? Now I take care of their 1099s. They feel taken care of. I, found, hey, I don't think you've been doing this correctly. Now I have more goodwill. Okay. They have an oh gosh moment with their CPA. Their CPA is asking them questions that they have never been asked before. And now they're panicked, and I answer all of them. I have more goodwill, right? So we're filling up this goodwill bucket. Stories and content where you're building trust starts to build up that goodwill bucket before they even sign the engagement letter. And I had this happen yesterday where I had a discovery call with someone. My goodwill bucket was already full with them. I've known them for about a decade. So they weren't getting on they were getting on, is this what you do? But I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I haven't done bookkeeping for 8 years. Can you do it? Absolutely. So it was a no-brainer for them. They knew that I was the person. It was just it was a formality of, let's get started. So you can fill that goodwill bucket by doing authentic, everyday stories where people know that you're the problem solver. Because the other thing that can happen is the client I was talking to, or the bookkeeper I was talking to yesterday, had lost some goodwill. He had told clients some incorrect information because he got incorrect information from QuickBooks. And so he passed that incorrect information on to the client, not knowing it was incorrect, not knowing that QuickBooks didn't. Has anyone had that issue with QuickBooks support? Yes, probably everyone has kind of had some frustrating moments with QuickBooks support. And he passed it along, and he had to then say, oh, what I was told isn't going to be what's happening now that we've changed plans 5 times. And he would have poured out some of the goodwill, right? It just pours out. And so you lower that goodwill. We never want to lower it. We don't ever want to empty the goodwill clients. So random note, sorry. I was just showing how you could build goodwill before you even sign a client, and it will make it easier to sign clients in the future where you're just showing up to those discovery calls or sales calls, whatever you want to refer to them as. And it's hey, here's how I can serve you. I'm going to have you do all the talking. Okay, here's what you need. Here's what that looks like. Those calls are so much easier than any other call you'll have. So that is our goal with content. Okay. Some of you as bookkeepers are like, I'm introverted. I'm not introverted. I'm not interesting enough. I've got nothing going on. I have no clue what to talk about. I don't even know what it means to be a bookkeeper yet. I just got started. That's okay. Because guess what? I know when Megan got started, when I got started, I remember saying something stupid on a post and got a message from another bookkeeper, thankfully, saying at the very bottom of the post, there was a like I had a date wrong. She messaged me saying, hey, you have that date wrong. So as you're learning, as you're reading Allie, I have another book for you. There is a Bookkeeper for Dummies book that Megan loved when she first got started. I don't have it here. I'd show it to you. But you could screenshot some of those things as you go. And you could say, are you doing this? Do you need a copy of Bookkeepers for Dummies? Hey, business owner, if you don't want to go through this, I can help you. And so you can screenshot. Now you don't want to screenshot the whole book. You're not going to use the same book every day because it's not your content, but we can add commentary to content. And we want it to be about less than 20% of the overall content that we're creating. Anyway, I hope that helps. Like, you don't have to, no one cares if you're interesting or not. They care that you know what you're talking about. And you can do that by sharing what you're learning. You only have to be one step ahead. Okay. One paver ahead
And
of
you
them.
don't have to know everything. And if they ask you a question and you don't know, it's okay to say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you. Like, that gains a lot of respect to those business owners, because again, I had no bookkeeping experience whenever I started. So I definitely did not know the answers to majority of the questions that was being asked. So it's the way you handle those situations, and do you go in it confidently, and are you gonna go get the answer for them? So don't just throw something out there not knowing. So yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely. So I think, Megan, I think you would agree with this. One of the biggest struggles we see with marketing is overcomplicating it.
Most definitely.
So just a friendly reminder,
Just show up.
just show up.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. If you're struggling writing posts, there's Chat GPT and even the stories. I don't know what to put on my story. Tell Chat GPT that it will help you come up with ideas. There's no reason to make it complicated. Show up and tell people what you're doing, what you have to offer. The
Yep.
more people you talk to at the end of the day and you tell at the end of the day, that's where the clients are going to come from.
And that's the whole goal as we walk through like marketing in the Bookkeeper Blueprint, is just to simplify it. You don't have to make it overcomplicated. As you're listening to stuff in the Bookkeeper Blueprint, as you're listening to stuff, so there's a private podcast alongside the Bookkeeper Blueprint that you can listen to in the car. And that's where I have all my best thoughts, is in the car. And so when you get to your destination, whether that's the grocery store, work, some of you guys are working full time while you're doing this, so you're going to listen in the morning. Before you go inside to work, make that story. You can be in the car, you can walk to a bench. A lot of workplaces have an outside bench that you can just go sit on for a few seconds, record something, and probably not be seen. Like, it can be in your car. It's totally fine. We want to get it done. We want to serve. We want to show up, because the client that I was talking to yesterday kept telling me I am very technical, but some things aren't even technical. Your business owners just don't understand it. They don't understand what it means to file a 1099 versus their W-2 versus their 1040. That's not technical language. That's just all the forms that they have to keep up with. There's a lot of forms, not to mention things like BOI, pausing, unpausing, being voluntary, being not, a bazillion times during the year. They're looking for someone who can help them navigate all of the chaos. And there is no better person than the person already trying to navigate it themselves. That's a step ahead. And that is you. So, bonus, every story should ultimately have a purpose, right? So we want to build trust with our clients. So if you want to market, but you don't want to market, you could say, you could call out in the story, if you need a bookkeeper, DM me. DMing me will work wonders, right? If you're struggling with QuickBooks, but you're going to have that better with, hey guys, I just had a client tell me that they spent 2 hours on QuickBooks. Have you had to do that? Can I just help you not ever have to do that again? That'd be great. Just DM me if you ever have issues with your QuickBooks file, whether you're a client or not. The story that this client just told me is she had so many other things going on in her life. Her kids are sick. The last thing she needed was to be on QuickBooks. Just reach out to me if that's you. Do you see the difference there? I gave a call to action and I solved their problem. And I said, hire me, without saying hire me. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying. Now you can be very specific, right? Like, we can post a photo of our workspace before it's really messy by the end of the day. And we can say, hey, we're helping clients. I'm ready to get started helping clients make sense of their finances today. If I can help you, let me know. Are you ready to get your finances in order? That could be standing in your kitchen, pouring yourself a coffee, making your water, making your vitamin water. Guys, I can't stand vitamin water. I keep trying. I can't. I had some like packet thing that I put in water this week and I just couldn't hack it. It just, I don't know, it tasted like so much like, it tasted like the vitamins and I just couldn't do that. Oh, is that Allie? I can do the IV hydrate thing, but this was like, it had B12 in it. Have you ever gotten like the IVs from like the people that come home to do like an IV if you have the flu or something? Oh my gosh, Allie, you should try that.
Oh,
It's
I
been a couple of
totally
years
should.
since I've done it,
I
but
need
we
a
haven't
me
been sick this
booster.
year. But you know how if you get an IV full of like B12, you can taste the B12. That is how this water tasted. And I just couldn't down 16 ounces of water like that. I was like, just forget it. I will
Put
take
it in a smaller amount of water. I have to do that with like the emergency and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like
I've been
and
up
even
on
the
that.
liquid
Yeah.
IV, I can't do the liquid IV because it tastes like salt. But if you put just like less water instead of a whole bottle of water.
Yeah. No, I totally get it with the like emergency stuff because I'll do half the water or I will add it to
Yeah.
orange juice this week. We've been adding it to orange juice because everyone
Yeah,
in the
that's
family
good.
was sick and I was like, I don't have time. Okay, so I digress. You guys can share what type of water and orange juice or flu remedies you have on your stories, but you can always direct them to your website. You can direct them to book a call. You can direct them to thumbs up if you use QuickBooks Online. Because guess what? You're going to see, you're going to get like a report from your stories saying, hey, here's everyone who liked it. And you can then reach out to them a week from now saying, hey, how are you? I'm going to have a conversation with you because I know you use QuickBooks, but you're not going to tell them that yet. You're just going to have a conversation with them. How is business? It's been a while since we talked. Better yet, you're going to comment, genuinely comment on their Facebook stuff, not your dog is cute. You're going to say, what type of dog do you have in their dog picture that they posted? Okay. And then you can always post social proof. That is an appropriate use of stories. So your 20% where it's promotional can be a testimonial, can be a story. Oh my gosh. Sick of doing your bookkeeping. I can be your emergency.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I love it. If any of you guys are good at dad jokes, yep. I tried to get a bookkeeper to do that once. Yeah, anyway. Okay, if you guys need help with marketing, if you need help getting systems in place so that you feel less scattered, the Bookkeeper Blueprint has all of the systems, the templates, the checklists that you need to simplify. You'll learn how to connect with your clients. You'll learn how to build those relationships. You're going to learn how to quote better than any other bookkeeper that you meet. And there's a lot of tips and tricks. We got some feedback last week that one of the videos was like, she's been a bookkeeper for 4 years now. And she's like, I never even knew that existed inside of QuickBooks. And it makes quoting easier. So if you're looking for like hacks to make quoting easier, it's in the Bookkeeper Blueprint, I promise. But we're going to ultimately help you grow your bookkeeping business with confidence. That is at the bookkeeperblueprint.com. Allie, I don't know if you have a better link you want to share. But just to recap before we open it up to Q&A, stories are a great way to beat the algorithm, change up what the algorithm is doing for your content, and to connect with people authentically. It's going to build that goodwill before you even engage the client. Okay. That's what I like about just showing up and having those networks. It's one of the reasons I really think having a community in person, online, whatever that community is, but build that community. And you're going to do that with stories. You're going to show up to that community in stories. But start today. Go ahead and post something. You can tag me, tag Megan, tag the Bookkeeper Blueprint. Sean suggested screenshotting this and sharing this that you're doing training. Oh, speaking of trainings, so as I'm going to ramble, we have Merrill Taylor, who's a CPA. He's going to be doing a training on the 9th next week, right? Is it next week? Yeah, next week on the 9th on 1099s. So make sure you're attending that, especially if you're filing 1099s for your clients, or if you just want to understand what's required so I can decide if I want to do them or not, but mainly so that you can do the bookkeeping correctly around 1099 contractors, things like that, how you can track them. So if you're tired of guessing, reach out to us, let us know. We can help you stop guessing. We put everything that we wanted to know growing our business in the Bookkeeper Blueprint. If you're stuck, let us know. This is not the year to be unstuck. And not the season. It is tax season. Now you have the opportunity to sign clients and continue signing clients. That is all I have at the moment. Okay. I will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.